So now that we've created our list, we're going to go ahead and create our first table, and we're going to just make some space on our screen so that we can do our table and make sure that we have the closing UL as the last part so that we don't create our list, our table inside of a list. All right, so here's some space just so I can separate the two for now, and then I'm going to create my first table. In order to start a table, you just call it table. And I'm going to go ahead and create my opening and closing tags, and inside the table you're going to create a table row. And inside each table row you need to create a table data, which is the actual table cells themselves. So if I want to have 2 columns, I create 2 table cells, table data. If I want 3 columns, I create table data. I forgot my / to close the empty tag, to close the tag, not the empty tag, just the tag. So we have the opening tag and closing tag for each table data. Now for my table, typically what you do is if you want generic table data, you just put a TD, but if you want to create a header, you give it a TH. So I change all of these to TH. And then inside each TH opening and closing tag, I can create my header. And then here's this second cell. So let me just show you an example. So if I'm going to create a table, and I'm going to call one fruit, one vegetables, and then candy, because those are the three food groups in my opinion. So there's your first start of your table. And then from there, I'm going to actually take off this list for now. You can see how lists work. I don't want it to distract us as we're learning tables. So I'm just going to close that out. So you can see how to do a list like before. So I'm just going to refresh that. You can see that fruit, vegetables, and candy. So I'm going to change the header above it just so we can declare what this is. This is my first table. Save and refresh. So there's my first table, and you can see I've started the table with the table header. And a table header comes with a default, it comes as bolded. So you can see how it's already bold. Now the table data itself, I'm going to create the first level of fruit, which is going to be apples. And then my first vegetable is going to be tomatoes. And my first candy is going to be chocolate. Save and refresh. Now you can see how I'm starting to get a table. If I want another table row, then I just add another table with data, and these are the specific cells. Banana, vegetable, broccoli, and then candy. Say candy, let's say Jolly Ranchers. Save and then refresh, and you can see how it's starting to form my table. So I'm going to go ahead and create my final row so that I have a few different rows. And then apples, bananas, oranges, spinach, and let's say Snickers. So typically that would be my table information, and then from there I just go in and I can create specific styles on the table. So to start creating styles with your table, you just want to go into the style sheet itself and take this table and give it a border. Remember the shorthand for border is the actual width of the border, then the type of border, and so just say solid, and then the color itself. And I can do a hexadecimal color or just a write out black or a different color. If I want to do red, I can do red. So you can see I can refresh it, and the table gives a border around the edge of the table. If I wanted to give some padding around that, you'll see that I can do that. So now there's more space around it. So you can start to create your table with borders. If I wanted to set up something around my table data, then I would create I can create a border, 1 pixel dotted blue, save and refresh, and you can see now I have that border around it. If I wanted to create a background color red, say it was red, refresh, and you can see now that I'm starting to create my styles. So if I want everything inside the table to be centered, I just do text align center, save, and refresh it. Oops. Refresh. So you can see now everything's centered within that table cell. You can see if I need to create a different table header and set up some settings for them, I just create a table header style. So I can just give it a color. This is changing the font color to brown. Save and refresh. And there's brown. So let's give this color a hexadecimal value. 662244. I'm just guessing. I don't know if that's going to be a cool color or not, but it gives me a kind of a pukey brown color. So you can see I have the option of doing a hexadecimal color or creating the actual writing the name out. So another thing you can do is you can change the text alignment to right or left alignment if you'd like. But I would say for a simple table, we're going to want to keep it center, and I'm going to keep it center in this circumstance. You can also declare the amount of space or width for each column just by going into one of the table rows and clarifying the width of each data cell within that row. So to start this process, you want to start with the table and then create the actual width of the table. Width, let's say it's 500 pixels. Save and refresh. Now you can see the table is a lot different in size. So if I want to create specific sizes for these columns, I can give it percentages. I can go into this table data and say style equals width 20%. And do the same thing with these others. Copy it and paste it. And I just need to do this in one table row. Do all of them so that I can kind of separate the width. So that's 60, so I need to put 40 as the last one so that we have 100%. So you can see now my tables have kind of rearranged. Now, if you wanted to do this with a class, you can do that and put it in the style sheet itself, but I didn't do that here. I could go ahead and just say class left. And if you get into a lot more styling for your style sheet, you're going to want to do this most likely. Class equals right, and then move this into your style sheet. I'm just going to delete all these, and I'll show you that it works the same way. Save, td class. So I'm just going to create a class inside td, and I'm going to say, oops, sorry, not my class. I'm going to say left is the class itself. I'm going to say width equals 50%, and I'm just going to copy this and paste it so we have center and right. And center, let's just say is 30%, and this is 20%, so we have 100% set up. And you can see I refreshed it, and now everything is formatting that way. So you can see how we have options. We can set up padding, you can set up all kinds of different stuff. You just need to determine what your table needs to look like and then mess around with the actual settings. So I can actually change the padding. You can see that here, 15 pixels if I wanted space around the words themselves. So there's the padding. So you can kind of do several different things with these tables, but that gets you started setting up your first table. One more thing that I do want to show you is, say if you wanted to combine two cells of data, you can go in and create a call span. Say you wanted to combine a column, and you could say call span equals 2. So that means this bananas column is going to combine two columns. But see, what happens is you have a little mix-up, because now it's expecting two columns, and then so it kind of expects you to have 4 table data. So, but you can span columns like that, and you'd have to have 4 levels on these other ones. So I could just create 4 here, just to give you an example. And you can see now that I have 4, and one is spanned into a different column. So you can create column spans, you can create row spans. Same thing with table rows, so you just put a row span instead. Let's try that. Row span 2. And you can see now bananas goes 2 rows, and so I'd have to kind of reset my table data again to make sure that it fits that information. But you can see, make sure that you put all the call span and row span on the actual TD tags themselves. But you can see how you can kind of move around things and make it look the way you want it to look. So that's the first lesson. We have tables and we have lists. Started with lists and moved to tables. So hopefully that was helpful, and you can get some good information to make your first list and table document.